Hey, what's going on? This is another episode of the Reporter Vlog for July 15th, 2025 on a Tuesday. Um, Pretty much going to get in a double header today. I guess one story for the parents, and next story, story about the lunatic and Donald Trump. All right, let's get right into it. Get right into it. First one goes out to the parents. Um, this story is brought to you by WLKY. Pretty much, I guess you say childhood obesity. To pretty much sum up the title. Like I said, this story is brought to you by WLKY. Uh, uh, from the AP, updated 1:37 p.m. on July 7th, 2025. Got a little staleness to it, but it's still useful. Uh, Publishers being Laura Unger and Janelle Alicio from the Associated Press. Okay, out to the parents. Here's your story, parents. The health of U.S. children has deteriorated over the past 17 years, with kids today being more likely to have obesity, chronic diseases, and mental health problems like depression. A new study says much of what researchers found was already known, but study paints a comprehensive picture by examining various aspects of children's physical and mental health at the same time. That uh, the surprising part of the study wasn't any single statistic. It was that there is 170 indicators, eight data sources, all showing the same thing: a generalized decline in kids' health, said Dr. Christopher Forrest, one of the authors and study of the study of published money in the Journal of American Medical Association. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy has brought children's health to the forefront of the national policy conversation, unveiling in May a much anticipated "Make America Healthy Again" report that described kids as undernourished and overmedicated. Raised concerns about the lack of physical activity, but Trump administration's actions, including cuts to the federal health agencies, Medicare, and scientific research, are not likely to reverse the trend, according to outside experts who reviewed Monday's studies. The health of kids in America is not as good as it should be. Uh, Not as good as the other countries, and the current policies of this administration are definitely going to make it worse, said Dr. Frederick Rivara, a pediatrician and researcher at the Seattle Children's Hospital at UW Medicine in Seattle. He co-authored an editorial accompanying the news study. Forrest and his colleagues analyzed surveys, electronic health records in 10 pediatric health systems and international international mortality statistics among their findings. They're doing the arms deal to the UN. And one obesity rates for U.S. children to 19 years old rose from 13% in '07 and '08, about 21% in 2021 and 23. Number two, a U.S. child in 2023 was 15% to 20% more likely than a U.S. child in 2011 to have chronic condition such as anxiety, depression, or sleep apnea, according to the data reported by parents and doctors. Number three, annual prevalence rates of 97 chronic conditions recorded by doctors rose from 40% in 2011 to about 46% in 2023. Early onset of menstruation, trouble sleeping, limitations in activity, physical symptoms, depressive symptoms, and loneliness also increased among American kids during the study period. Five American children were around 1.8 times more likely to die than kids in other high income countries from '07 to 2022. Being born premature and sudden and unexpected death was much higher among U.S. infants and in firearm related incidents. Motor vehicle crashes were much more common among 1 to 19-year-old American kids than among those that were the same age in other countries examined. Research points to bigger problems with America's health, said Forrest, who is a pediatrician at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. Kids are the canaries in the coal mines, he said. The kids' health changes because there's an increase of vulnerability, and it reflects what's happening in society at large. The timing of the studies, he said, is completely fortuitous. Before the 2024 presidential election, Forrest was working on a book about driving over the lifespan and couldn't find this sort of comprehensive uh, data on children's health. The data set analyzed have some limitations and may not be applicable to the full U.S. population, noted Dr. James Perrin, a pediatrician and a spokesman for the American Academy of Pediatrics, who wasn't involved in the study. Basic findings is true, he said. The editorial published alongside the study while the administration MAHA movement is bringing welcome attention to the chronic diseases. It is pursuing other policies that will work against the interests of children. Those included eliminating injury prevention and maternal health programs, canceling investments in the campaign addressing sudden infant death, and fueling vaccine hesitancy among parents that may lead uh, in the resurgence of deadly vaccine preventable diseases, Arthur's wrote. Officials from the U.S. Health Department, Health and Human Services Department did not respond to a request for the comment. Forrest said risks highlighted by the MAHA report, such as eating too much ultra processed food, are real, but miss the complex reality driving trends in children's health. We have to step back and take some lessons from ecological sustainability community, and said, let's look at the ecosystem the kids are growing up in. Let's start on a kind of neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city basis, examine it, he said. Well, pretty good, pretty good read. Uh, Basically, this is to the parents out there. Keep in mind the points from as far as the stats from 1 to 5. Yeah, but can't really trust this administration, as far as on this topic, because they at one hand they act like they care about the health of the kids, and at one other hand they take away money from the health programs. Which one is it? Which one is it? That's all I gotta say on this story, really. One moment you're caring about the kids, they you trying to take away the things that make good food uh, tasty, and among other things, and on the other hand, you're taking away money from the health programs. So that says a lot. Yeah, things ain't what they seem to be when it comes to this story. But still a good story to throw out there to the parents, and uh, take it how you want to take it. Especially if you're a parent, form your own opinion. Especially if you're a parent. All right, let's move on. Don't want my Wi-Fi signal go off, um, which has been happening lately on YouTube Live. Let's go on to the next story. Whew. All right, from children's health to the loon. Donald J. Trump and fight with his old rival Rosie O'Donnell. Pretty much, this is a rivalry between those two individuals from from New York. One won't bend, and you know how the other one is going to bend. Um, well, I think Rosie might be the kryptonite to Donald Trump, because she don't care what he says or his fan base. So she just don't care. That's the thing about somebody that's heard it all, been there and done that. They don't care. You can't tell them nothing that's gonna really hurt them. But let's get right into it. This is from TMZ.com. Donald Trump threatens to revoke a U.S. citizen citizenship. Okay, this is brought to you, like I said, TMZ from by the TMZ staff. To give my credits, published on July the 12th, 2025 at 8:34 a.m. Updated July 14th, 2025 at 1:29 p.m. She's a threat to humanity. Notice her. The first point before I get started. Rosie O'Donnell is. He says Rosie O'Donnell is humanity. What? I don't think he never said that about Putin, his buddy. How could Rosie O'Donnell be a threat to humanity, but you want to admit that Putin's a threat to humanity? What makes Putin then? In other words, yeah, what makes Putin then? Okay, let's get right into it. 9:14 a.m. Rosie O'Donnell just took a swipe at Donald Trump after he claimed he was looking into taking away her American citizenship. In a fiery social media post, she calls a 47 I was 47, a criminal con man, sexual abusing liar out of harm or our nation to serve himself. Uh, who despises that she speaks out against him. While he called her a threat to America, O'Donnell labeled him as a dangerous old soulless man with dementia who lacks empathy, compassion, and basic humanity. She also reposted a pic on IG calling Trump a beeping infestation. Jeez. President Donald Trump is ready to wash his hands in America's clean of Rosie O'Donnell because he's threatening to revoke her citizenship status. Oh man! In a seemingly unprompted post on his Truth Social platform Saturday morning, the prayers shared a post declaring he's giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship because she's not in the best interest of our great country. This is the president right here. Threatening to take away a U.S. Citizenship. Something you can do. Something you can do. He thinks that's because he's in that White House, he can do anything he wants. It's because somebody disagrees with him. If this isn't truth, let's move on. He added she is a threat to humanity, should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America. He did not specify how the actress and television host is a threat to all humanity. Notably, a president is not able to revoke the citizenship exactly of a person born of naturalized or naturalized in the United States per the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. That's all it's to it. As you know, Rosie is up and moved out of the U.S. Can't blame her. Just in time for Trump's inauguration in January, reasoning it's no longer safe for all the citizens to have equal rights. She headed to Ireland and said she was in the process of applying for citizenship because her grandparents were born in the country. As you know, Trump and O'Donnell have been feuding for over a decade, most recently over political differences. TMZ reached out to O'Donnell's rep for comments. So far, no word back. So basically, this is a rivalry like for over a decade. Um, Rosie's not afraid of him. Rosie's not going to back down from him. And despite what he says, despite the lies that he spits out, because he noticed that he gives no reason why Rosie O'Donnell is a threat to humanity, but because basically this is because she speaks out against him. That's his kryptonite. If you speak out against him, you're not going to get along with him. You pretty much got to sell your humanity, sell your right to think for yourself to get along with Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You got to sell your humanity, your freedom to think for yourself to get along with Donald Trump. Yeah, and that's how his own fan base was born. They sold their humanity, the right to think for themselves, to get along with Donald Trump. That's how his own circle was born. They sold their humanity for their career, the right to think for themselves, to get along with Donald Trump, to use him to get up the ladder, so they can get up the ladder. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Yeah, you can't get more pitiful than that. If I have to know my right to think for myself, to get along with you, I'm in trouble. So this is pretty much what it's all about. A rivalry for at least a decade, still going strong, and he's pretty much this guy that mad that he's pretty much just a guy that's mad that he can't control, can't get over on her. There's somebody that fights back. He can't stand it when somebody fights back. That's why it kills me how he well as far as his terms. If you help this guy out, I'm gonna tax you. He thinks it begins and it ends with him. My goodness, that's ooh, my goodness. But that's all I got. Let me move on to the last one. Those signals holding up, but that's all I got. Finish off his triple header. Move to the last story. Okay. Wall Street Journal warns Trump may have just sabotaged his own presidency. Okay, this is brought to you by the Huffington Post. Um, Pretty much a warning by Wall Street. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is brought to you by the Huffington Post. Like I said, Wall Street Journal warns Donald Trump may have just sabotaged his own presidency. It may end up dead in the water, said the newspaper's conservative editorial board. Publisher being Lee Moran. Okay. Wall Street Journal thinks one Donald Trump move may have just put his presidency at risk. Common feature of Donald Trump's two terms as president has that he can't stand political prosperity. Uh, when the events are prosperity, when the events are going to in his direction, he has an uncanny habit of handling his opponents as a sword, handing his opponents a sword. The Rupert Murdoch owned newspaper conservative editorial board wrote on Sunday. Trump's attacks on Senator Tom Tillis over the senator's criticism of the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which is currently being debated in the Senate, are the latest example of that self-sabotage, said the newspaper, which has taken Trump to task on multiple fronts since his return to office. Tillis announced Sunday he wouldn't stand for re-election in 2026, saying it was not a hard choice to decide whether to spend another 6 years navigating political theater and partisan gridlock in Washington or with his family. His seat is another pickup opportunity for Democrats next year, noted the Journal. And GOP legislative reforms will have no chance to if Democrats take the House in 2026. The board concluded, and if they are to take the Senate, forget about confirming another Supreme Court nominee. The Trump presidency will be dead in the water. So it's going to do it. Another truthful article because he has a way of some people have a way of ruining it for themselves, and he's one of them. He can say anything he wants, do anything he wants, and have without any consequences. And it's all gonna go down. Let's say this was like this. He's like the Roman Empire. Sooner or later, the empire is gonna fall because you can self sabotage and for so long. When sooner or later your empire just falls, just falls. It's on its way. Don't blame Tom Tillis, who in the world will put up with that for 6 years. Um, Might as well retire, go and live your life with your family. Because like I said, you pretty much got presidency where they all using each other just to make it up the ladder. They don't want to step on his toes. They don't want to say nothing wrong to make him angry because they don't want to. They want to continue to walk the ladder. They want to continue to keep their big time office government jobs. That's what it's all about with this presidency, with this administration. But it's what do it for this triple header, a reporter vlog. Uh, Now, if you want to get in touch with this vlog, go on YouTube, hit the search bar. It's pretty much a page pretty much has two titles, but where you is as far as the one title is the real and the truth. Uh, you either type that in, and then you and there's also Think About It Productions as well. So my YouTube page pretty much has two titles. But if you really want to get in touch with it, you might want to try the real and the truth first, uh, and you'll be on your way. Be on your way. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with this, it's a page. You have the real and the truth first. Matter of fact, the best bet is typing in the real and the truth. But I would do it. On that note, this is another episode of the reporter vlog for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Y'all have a good one. I'm gone.